Hi, everyone, and welcome to CaringKind Live. My name is Chris Doucette. I am your host today. I am the Director of Community Engagement for CaringKind. This is the weekly live stream every Wednesday at 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. CaringKind broadcasts this live stream from our broadcast studios, which happen to be my studio apartment in Queens, New York. Thank you so much for joining us today. If you're watching this video as a rebroadcast after let's see, today is Wednesday, November 18th. If you're watching this after Wednesday, November 18th, thank you so much for watching this rebroadcast. Please make sure you join the real live version of this every Wednesday at 1 o'clock on YouTube and Facebook. And if you're watching this live, thank you so much. I see we've got a couple of people already tuned in. We have a really good conversation planned for you today. And in fact, let me show you what we're actually doing here since there we go. CaringKind live stream. There we go. Now you know who you're talking to and why. We have a great show for you today. We're going to do what we always do, which is we're going to start off with some CaringKind highlights, and then we're going to go right into our interview with Mr. Terry Moore, who is the CEO of Homeolux. And that's going to be a really interesting conversation. As always, all of our links are in the show description of the video. So if you're watching this on YouTube or Facebook, just click the See More option just beneath this video, and it will open up, I did it again, it will open up all of the links that are relevant today, okay? So, and just a quick review of what those links are. Number one, social media. Please join us on social media. You know, CaringKind is not, we do not have millions of dollars set aside for things like billboards and TV ads and radio ads and that kind of thing. So we really depend on our community to amplify our message. And the best way to do that is through social media. So if you would, please join us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn, and like and subscribe and share everything that we do, or maybe not everything. How about all the stuff that you like? Go ahead and share that stuff. The more you share, the more you like and comment, the more you amplify our message of Alzheimer's and dementia caregiving, which means that we appear in the Google search results. Basically, the algorithms like people who are active. And so the more you're active on our behalf, the more we can get our message into the hands of people who need us most. And that is, of course, families affected by Alzheimer's and dementia. So please join us on social media, and the links to all of those social media links, the links to those platforms are in the show description of this video. Second thing, it's not really social media, but it's kind of similar. It's social media adjacent, maybe. It's our podcast. Caregiver Storyteller is our storytelling podcast about Alzheimer's and dementia caregiving. It is the #1 caregiving podcast on iTunes. So please, if you haven't heard the stories yet, the stories are amazing. I have incredible guests telling their stories. So please, the link to the podcast is also in the show description. Please find our podcast called Caregiver Storyteller wherever you get your podcasts. And in fact, I can show that right now. You can go to caringkindnyc.org/podcast, and you can subscribe, rate, and review, and keep us #1, which is super cool. So I'm going to go right into our CaringKind highlights, and then we'll go right into our interview with Terry. I can see him in the green room already. Hi, Terry. Nice, good to see you. He waved back, so we're good to go. And so the first thing I'd like to do is say thank you to everyone. That we had an incredibly busy fall. Our walk raised $400. In fact, just yesterday, our walk hit $450,000. So all of you in our community who participated in the walk, whether as volunteers or donors or walkers or team captains or partners or sponsors, you helped us raise over $450,000. We just hit that milestone yesterday. Thank you so much. The gala also hit its targeted budget on October 26th. So thank you so much if you donated to the gala. You helped us achieve our very important targets in order to for us to maintain our programs throughout 2021. And of course, now that we are past the gala and it is November 18th, we've just started our year-end campaign. So if you're watching this, chances are good you're in our system and you will be getting either a paper direct mail piece or maybe an email from me. I just sent one out this morning asking you to participate in our year-end campaign. Certainly, if you've donated to us in the past year and you've exhausted your giving for the year, we thank you very much for your participation. And you can disregard the year-end messages. But if you haven't yet supported CaringKind financially, we really encourage you to do so. The year-end campaign is a great way to do it. Giving Tuesday is coming up on December 1st. Also a great reason to donate to your favorite charity. And we certainly hope that CaringKind is that charity of choice for you. So thank you so much for putting up with all of our messages asking for support. We only go above and beyond regarding our asking you for support because we have to go above and beyond for our caregivers who need our support. So thank you so much for being a part of our community and helping us stay open and keeping our helpline open for people who need us. So before we get to our conversation with Terry, let's really quickly go over some CaringKind highlights. And the highlights I've got to show for you today are actually just 3 articles in the New York Times. If you've been reading the New York Times in the past few weeks, there have been a bunch of stories about Alzheimer's and dementia. Number 1, Sean Connery, the actor, died a couple weeks ago, and he did suffer from dementia. So if you are interested, if you're a big Sean Connery fan, please, the link to this article is in the show description of this video, so check that out. Another relevant article was this one from the New York Times. The FDA panel declines to endorse a controversial Alzheimer's drug. I don't know how to pronounce it. It's aducanumab. I'm not quite sure. I probably got that wrong. But again, the link to this article is also in the show description. And lastly, this is very relevant to New York City residents. Living in noisy neighborhoods may raise your dementia risk. It's an article about a study that was done about noise and dementia. So please check that out. Again, the link is in the show description of this video. So make sure you do that. And so those are really the articles I wanted you to pay attention to. I wanted to thank you for the walk. Thank you for the gala. Thank you for participating in year end and Giving Tuesday. So without further ado, let's talk to our main guest for the day. He is the CEO of Homeolux, and to tell us more about what Homeolux is and what he does over there, please welcome Mr. Terry Moore. Terry, how are you?
Good morning, Chris. How are you?
I'm good.
I'm very pleased to be here. I'm very pleased to be associated with CaringKind because I know the good work you do. And congratulations on having the #1 podcast.
Thank you very much. You know, that was a real big surprise. We just started telling our stories, and I didn't try to go #1. I wasn't really sure how to go #1, quite frankly, because I'm not that fancy when it comes to Google algorithms. So it was just a happy accident.
This all speaks to the content, which must be wonderful.
It is wonderful. And maybe, in fact, I can get you on a future episode because you yourself have experience as a caregiver, right? So
I do indeed.
Yeah. So, and we'll talk more about that in a minute. But thank you for coming on the show. And for our listeners, would you mind just introducing yourself and Homeolux and talk about what you do?
All right. Let me give you a medium version of what I'm doing here. I thought I was retired when I moved to New York in 2003. And I really was retired for a long time. However, in 2016, my wife received a diagnosis of Alzheimer's disease. Mm. And that, of course, was devastating for both of us. But it refocused my life. And of course, the first thing I did, which I think is probably typical, is I threw myself into the research to see what was out there for Alzheimer's patients. And it turns out it was extremely bleak. The last medication that had been approved for Alzheimer's was approved in 2003. You had a notice this morning about another drug that had failed its FDA trial. Mm-hmm. 100% of the drugs that have been tested have failed. There are no treatments. There is no cure. And I don't think that means there isn't hope.
Right.
But it means we have to look elsewhere. And I started looking elsewhere. And one of the places I looked in the research world was some research being done at MIT with light therapy. Mm-hmm. And they had taken a population of, at this point, white mice who had high levels of amyloid plaque in their brains, which we all know about. Mm-hmm. And they exposed them to a light that flashed at one of the natural brain frequencies, a frequency called gamma, which is 40 flashes a second. And they discovered that in a very short time, those mice had half as much plaque in their brains and had begun to relearn skills and had better functioning memories. And this is all real science. This was published in Nature. Mm-hmm. So I looked at that research and I thought, here's something that's hopeful, and it's not harmful, and it's not invasive, and it's not dangerous. So I hired an engineer to build me a prototype, and I took it home, turned it on, left it on for a while, and in a fairly short period of time, the care staff and the physicians were asking me where they could get one. And given the experience we had at home, and now more research and other experiences with other users, I really felt destiny was calling me to make this hopeful technique available to other people. Mm. And that's why I launched this company. It's actually launched this year, but what it does is it sells a device that provides gamma frequency light, 40 hertz light, mm-hmm. For anyone. And in the most recent past, all the things that I've heard from people who are using it, as well as from the research community, 40 hertz is kind of like a vitamin. Mm. And the current theory is that the brain has these cells called microglial cells whose job it is to clean out the brain. And it seems that for some unknown reason over time, they sort of get tired or go offline and become less functional. And because of this natural brain frequency, by stimulating the brain at that frequency, it seems to wake these microglial cells up and they get back online and clean out the brain. That's the current theory. But the results have been encouraging, to say the least. So that's what I've been doing with my life.
Yeah. So it really was an unexpected turn of events for you, not only because of your wife, but also this business that you've created as a result of that.
Yes, this is all a result, or should we say a response, mm-hmm. to my wife's treatment of Alzheimer's. And in this time that I've been involved, particularly with 40 hertz light, I've come to believe that even though there are no cures or no standard treatments for Alzheimer's, that there's a lot to be done in terms of preventing Alzheimer's. Mm-hmm. And not just for those who are in the early Alzheimer's set, but those who want to maintain healthy cognitive function. And healthy cognitive function really begins with maintaining a healthy brain. And there are a lot of things we can do to make our brains healthy. Right. We can eat better. We can sleep better. Yeah. We can get exercise. We can challenge ourselves cognitively. And we can have 40 hertz light. Right. And all of these things, I believe, accrue to competent, helpful brains, right. Which, of course, is the best thing you can do for your cognitive life.
Absolutely. And, at CaringKind, we say it all the time. In the absence of a cure, there's only good caregiving. And part of good caregiving is also the caregiver taking care of themselves. And that means eating. And it's the same old story: eat right, exercise, get plenty of sleep. And in fact, the New York Times article I just shared a few minutes ago about linking living in a noisy neighborhood and that potential link with dementia, right? So that probably disturbs people's sleep if you're in a noisy place, and that undermines your overall health and wellness.
I didn't know that particular fact, but it's not a surprise at all.
Right. Right.
Certainly these things that invade our calmness, like noise and agitation, can't possibly be good for us. And I think that's probably another reason why 40 hertz light is successful. Because
Now, yeah. Now, I'm just curious about you, because I think that's it's such an interesting story, right, that you've got. And I don't meet very many people who just turn around and create a new company based on a response to something like this. So what did you do beforehand? Is this your area? Is this not your area of expertise?
Well, I have a long and affectionate relationship with science.
Okay.
Although I spent most of my adult life as a business consultant in several areas of business, often drawing on the scientific world for its understanding or help. But I was essentially a businessman. I had my own consulting company, and I retired when I moved to New York in 2003 and thought, that was that. And I didn't expect to spend this part of my life with a new company. But this is not just a company idea. This is a mission.
Right.
And I really believe in the value of 40 hertz light. And all of the people who work with me, and I have a number of competent business professionals working with me, they all take this personally too. And really everybody does. I don't know anyone whose life hasn't been touched by Alzheimer's.
Right.
If not in their immediate family, one step away. It's the statistics are daunting. There are more deaths from Alzheimer's than there are from prostate cancer and breast cancer combined.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, here's a flicker of hope.
Literally, right?
Literally, and I'm really excited about it.
Now, can you talk about what is the sensation? Talk about the light itself. What's the sensation of having it on? What does it look like? Does it go with my furniture?
Yes. It was designed to be user friendly. And this is the light.
And that's it.
This is it. And as long as one gets some of the flashing light, some of the 40 hertz light, one's getting the benefit from it. And you might be able to tell there's a little flash in the background in this video, and that's because it's something I have on all the time, because I truly believe that it's good for me, and I've encouraged people I know clearly outside of the therapeutic community to use it. And again, all the reports have been good so far.
Right.
But yes, it's designed to fit in with every decor, because if people won't use it, then it isn't of any value. There are other similar devices out there that produce 40 hertz light, but they involve getting in helmets or putting probes in or outside of one's body, and it's too invasive, particularly for an Alzheimer's patient.
Right.
So we wanted something that would seamlessly fit into the environment and provide 40 hertz light, but not be seen as a medical tool.
Right.
It's a wellness device, and we hope everybody uses it.
Yeah. Were you surprised by anything in the development of that device? Like, did you learn something about Alzheimer's or science or the brain that took you by surprise when you were developing the prototype for that?
I was surprised at the other aspects of cognitive life that are related to 40 hertz stimulation, or the 40 hertz resonant gamma frequency of the brain, which is correlated with things like attention and mood. And that's really what we hear from the people who use our device. Typically, someone will write to us and say, I've used this thing for 6 or 7 weeks, and I noticed that I'm sleeping better. I'm in a better mood. I'm a little sharper. it's that kind of effect that I think we're seeing from the people who are using it.
Yeah. And do you have any, are there any plans for a large clinical study of your product and of 40 hertz light?
Yeah, I think there are several that are beginning now. I've heard that, not exactly sure which group it is, somebody is recruiting for a phase 1 trial.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually we'll have all of these answers. And eventually there will be answers to all of these questions. But there are so many people like me, I can't wait for a final product. I mean, if we decided to take this through the usual route, it would be 10 years and $10 million.
Right.
And I don't have the time. My wife is sick now. Question is, what can we do now? One of the things we can do is provide 40 hertz light.
Yeah.
And I must say, because I know your next question is going to be, well, how is she? And the answer is well beyond the expectation of any of her physicians. They keep referring to her as remarkably stable.
Wonderful.
Like
I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad to hear that.
And I credit the gamma light.
And what is your intention for the company? Do you have a vision for what, now that you've kind of built this prototype, you've built this product, what's your vision for the company and what you plan to go, what you plan to do from here?
My vision is to make this immediately available to the Alzheimer's and early Alzheimer's community. Mm-hmm. And then to expand the focus to make this a broader wellness product, because I believe, and from what I've seen in the research and comments, this is good for people. So I see this as something that people will use in their homes and offices, much as I'm using it in my office at this very moment. Mm-hmm. And my staff and family are in their homes. Again, it's like a vitamin.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, what's especially impressive about your story is that you've managed to create a company and a product, and creating a physical item is actually very difficult, right? In order to get the manufacturing and the science and build it. But you also did it while being a caregiver. How is that even possible?
Yes. How is that even possible? The answer is I have identified a number of very competent people to help me with this. Mm-hmm. And it's a group, it's a company. It's not an individual activity. I have wonderful people I work with who are really committed, personally, to solving this problem. And yes, actually creating a physical product in enough quantity that people can have it is a daunting task, and one I was not familiar with. I've spent my life as a business consultant, but I had no manufacturing experience. So that's where these experts I work with have come in to be very helpful. And now we have a physical product, and I hope it's helping people. Yeah, yeah.
And and how is your and you have children, is that right?
I have a 27-year-old son who happens to be here at the moment.
Yeah. And so is he part of the company as well?
No, he's looking, he's interested in what we're doing and is looking at 40 hertz sound.
Oh, wow.
Maybe something that we can bring into the 40 hertz light. But he's researching that as we speak. Because I think adding 40 hertz sound to 40 hertz light eventually will be a good idea if we can keep them in synchronization.
Right.
They'd have to be the very same 40 hertz, and we're looking at that. But we'll know more about that, and eventually there may be a 40 hertz audio addition to the 40 hertz light. But the light's really the big deal. I mean, that's what got my attention, and that's what we've been using and are at the moment so happy with.
That's wonderful. If you were to meet someone, and this is a question that I often ask, especially caregivers, if you were to meet someone who is new to the Alzheimer's or dementia caregiving experience, what's the first thing you say? What's your advice to them?
Take care of yourself. Number one, take care of yourself. If you're not in good shape, you can't be a good caregiver. And then I would say use all of the tools of caregiving that are available. Use all of the kinds of therapy, including art therapy and music therapy and language therapy. Use all of the nutritional evidence there is on having a good, a heart healthy lifestyle, which is really the same as a brain healthy lifestyle.
Right.
And use 40 hertz light.
Absolutely. You know, of course, that's what CaringKind says. You've got our position down perfectly, because we tell people that you have to practice self-care, because if you don't, then you're not able to be a great caregiver. So you have to rest, and you need respite, and you need to sleep and eat and check your hearing and check your heart health. Absolutely.
You need to consider yourself the first element of good caregiving.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way I would put it.
I think that's absolutely right. Terry, do you have anything else to add about Homeolux or the product or 40 hertz light?
You can find more about us and our story on the web at homeolux.com. I see you've posted a little banner with that.
Yep.
It's www.homeolux.com. And if you have any other questions, let us hear from you.
Okay. Well, we heard from
and you too, Chris.
We heard from one person. Barbara London asked, "What's the cost? What is the cost? What is this going to run me?"
This costs $249, and that's the complete standalone price. And
Good to know.
Work in any environment.
Mm-hmm. And there's no subscription. It's just one purchase, one time, and you're good to go. Is that right?
One-time purpose. There's no subscription. There's no hidden costs. Again, the mission really is to try to get 40 hertz light into the hands of as many people as possible, and not fail as a business in the process. Right. I mean, there are no subscriptions or things.
Yeah. Are there particular outlets that you are focused on? Any markets in a way that you are like? Where can we find you in real life, or are you on the web? Oh, actually, we're all on the web only right now. But
we know, yes. Well, we have our site, and we also sell most of our products, I think, through Amazon. So this particular product is known as a Beacon 40. That's its product name.
Okay.
And if you go to Amazon and search for Beacon 40, it will take you right to our product.
Terrific.
And we'd be happy for you to do that.
Terrific. Terry, anything else to add before we wrap it up?
No, but I'm always available if there are any further questions or comments or discussion.
Absolutely. And
I do want to thank you for your interest in this, Chris. I really appreciate CaringKind. I'm so glad you gave us some attention, really.
Absolutely. We're happy to. We do everything we can to get everybody on the same page. It is a team effort when it comes to Alzheimer's and dementia caregiving, right? So it takes a village. So thank you so much, Terry, and good luck with the launch this year. That's amazing.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you so much.
All right. Take care.
Bye for now.
Okay. Bye-bye. And that was Terry Moore, CEO of Homeolux. He just launched that company and product this year. And so you can find more information about Homeolux by clicking that link in the show description of this live stream. Sorry, my computer was falling off the pile of books that it's on. And that wraps it up for this week. That is this week's live stream. We will not be having a live stream next week because next week is Thanksgiving. And I am going to be cooking myself a, I don't know, turkey sandwich or something by myself in my apartment. I hope that you all have a great Thanksgiving wherever you may be. If you are meeting friends and family, please do it safely. Wear a mask, be outside if you can, wear a coat, and let's hope that we get a vaccine for this coronavirus very quickly and it gets rolled out and distributed very quickly. So best of luck, best wishes for a happy Thanksgiving next week. We will be returning the week after, and our next guest will be one of our walk sponsors, SoundMind. We'll be talking about their product to support Alzheimer's and dementia caregivers and people with Alzheimer's and dementia. So until then, I'm Chris Doucette. Thank you guys so much and have a safe, and hold on, I had a comment. Oh, Eleonora just popped in. Eleonora said, information is power. That's absolutely true. The more information that we have, the more we think about this stuff, the better we all are. So thank you again, everyone, and we will see you 2 weeks from today. Thank you very much. And